Hello and welcome to episode 5 of Missle Industries' Crusty Ford Falcon GS wagon project. Now, in the last episode, I dropped everything and went and bought myself a inner door handle for this XC, kind of committing me to the pathway of putting this car all back together again rather than just parting it out. So, on today's episode, we're going to go over more of that, which is going to mean figuring out what stuff I'm still missing. Since my triumphant return with my doeskin door handle, I got the kids to give it a bit of a clean up along with my other door handles, and it's not quite doeskin, but it'll do. It's going to go to the rear passenger seat behind me, so I'll never see it, so that's fine. Other missing items that I've discovered, I've got the right rear passenger door handle, but I don't have the left rear passenger door handle. I do have two front left passenger door handles because I got one left over from my coupe project all those years ago, which I still haven't found a use for because neither this car or this car are missing front passenger door handles. So I'm going to have to find one of those. All kinds of bits and bobs, like locks to go through, those things. I really hope those things are in a box, and when I put it all back together it works, because I really don't want to be going to find the inner door assembly parts to get all these doors to work. It's going to be bad enough as it is putting it all back together again and getting all the latches to pop up and down and the locks to work. So that's where I'm at with that. Also missing windscreen wipers and wiper arms, to be more specific. From what I understand, they're like a 2-arm arrangement that goes like that, and I'm going to find those as well. Fortunately, in these situations, eBay is your friend, even though you pay a premium. Should be able to get those pieces fairly easily. That pretty much goes for door handles, armrests, and all of that stuff, because it'll all be out there somewhere and I just need to find it. And while I'm on the subject of missing pieces, I went through my collection of indicator parts that came with this wagon, and look at all the dirt in that. Look at it all. That's broken. That, I could use it. Probably same goes for that. I can use it, but it's got a big chunk taken out of it. That one is toast. So probably going to track down a couple of new ones of those. I went and bought more bolts on the start of the week as well, so I can reattach the bumpers. I'm not going to do that right away because that engine needs to go into that engine bay before I'm going to extend the length of this car by putting the bumpers back onto it and take up more of my precious shed space. So engine in, bumpers on, and hopefully car turned around before all that happens, otherwise it's not going to work. I also need to keep cleaning this engine because I've decided, obviously the engine's going to go back in. I need to paint the engine bay in the factory colour so it's all nice and tidy when that engine that I threw paint all over goes back into it. So I'm going to need to strip all of this out and paint the engine bay, but that's a subject for another episode because it's taking me quite some time to clear all the gunk out of this car, because it is layered and layered and layered with greasy, wheelie gunk. And I've spent last weekend with a bottle of soapy water, namely this soap. Didn't really have much of an impact, but I scrubbed away at it and destroyed my wife's laundry brushes in the process, and it's better, but it's still not great. So I have to spend another weekend scraping stuff out of this engine bay before I can paint it. Oh, and incidentally, I'm going to need to fix that giant crack in the subframe there. But good news, I got my gas bottle sorted out so I can get back into doing some welding. So that's where we are at. Probably my biggest concern with finding parts for this car is getting this rear window arrangement to seal again, because I suspect whoever took the rear spoiler roof fin thing off, I'm not even sure that's the one that came with this car because it's orange. So this has been removed, and in order to get at the bolts, whoever took it off had to strip back the head lining and remove all of the inner gusseting around the window frame when the window goes back up into it. So I found these on eBay last week, and they arrived earlier in the week, so I've had a crack at putting those on. And I've got one in, but that's not going to be the end of my problems, because I still need to figure out an arrangement for the window glass to slide up into kind of like the window frame of a passenger door, lined in felt, and I can just slide the window glass up into that and it can be all nice and sealed. So these two pieces are important pieces of the puzzle, but I still don't have the channels that go all the way around in there to seal that glass in the frame when you wind it up. So that's going to be a tricky one to sort out. I picked the brains of a guy I know that has one of these, and he was telling me it's a series of channels. It's in 4 pieces. You go up around in here that the glass winds up into, and I just need to figure out what I can do about either finding those pieces of channel or making up my own pieces of channel with some of the spare doors behind my shed for cars I no longer own. Another thing I need to address is the dodgy state of these guards. Now, the right side one is full of ripple effect, like it's been dented and then somewhat repaired, so I can probably try to fix that, but no panel beater. And obviously the left side guard has had the paint off it now for probably over a decade and a half, and I don't know whether that rust is going to ever be able to come back from anything other than rusty as. So I might have to find 2 extra guards, which will be a bit of a headache. Summary time for episode 5. Am I trying to put lipstick on a pig here? Am I trying to find parts that just no longer exist? I mean, the car is almost 50 years old, and obviously these were everywhere not so long ago, but I'm missing a lot of things. On their own they don't cost too much, but the cumulative effect of chasing down all these extra bits and bobs is obviously going to come at a cost. And at this stage the car doesn't owe me a great deal of money, so I'm quite happy to give it a red hot go and see if I can fix this car up. So hopefully next week I've got some good news and I can show you how successful I've been finding the bits and pieces that I need to make this a viable project. Finding the parts to complete this car is not going to happen over the course of 1 week, and it's probably going to be an ongoing thing. So next week I should have at least some updates on my success on finding parts. But for the time being, the takeaway from this is, if you're going to buy a car that was disassembled by somebody as they suffered a mental decline and lost all the bolts and a great deal of the parts, and then the car got pushed out into the backyard for 8 years to sit in the weather, and then it was bought by somebody who pulled the motor out and pulled all the accessories off the motor and then left it in their shed for another 8 years, it better be a rust-free body.